Okay, our first guest of this hour had a chance to go out to the Big Smoke to do a little traveling. It was there that he was given an award, a media award. It was all about the podcast he created to help break the stigma around mental health. He spent many years working as a paramedic and a volunteer firefighter, and PTSD is the topic of his podcast. It's what we're going to talk about today. Sean Conohan is back with us today. Sean, how are you, sir?
I'm good, Sheldon. How are you?
I'm well. You're still in Toronto? You're still up in Hogtown?
I am, and actually the award ceremony is tonight, and that's when they'll be giving my media award, and also be announcing that UpTalk Podcast will be rebranded as Tema Talks in a partnership with the Tema Conter Memorial Trust.
That is amazing, and I did see that on your Facebook today. And congratulations. So, what is this award for specifically?
Well, basically, they're recognizing my work over the last 2 years with the UpTalk Podcast. I put out 20 episodes with 35 guests, a wide range of experience with PTSD and mental health and mental illness in general. So they're just recognizing me for that.
Tema Conter, for our listeners who don't know, can you tell us about Tema?
Sure. Tema Conter was a woman from Nova Scotia, actually, and she moved to Toronto to pursue a fashion career, and she was murdered in Toronto, actually 30 years ago now. And the paramedic who responded to that call, Vince Savoya, was later diagnosed with PTSD and later soon after ended his career in paramedicine. When he got back on his feet, he approached the Conter family and wanted to do something in Tema's memory, and that's when they started the Tema Conter Memorial Trust, which originally gave out $1,000 scholarships to paramedic students. From that, they've blossomed into Canada's leading organization for the support, education, and training of first responders with PTSD and mental health issues in general in Canada.
Sean Conohan is here with us. He is behind a podcast where he takes on the issues of PTSD and occupational stress injury. You've mentioned, we were actually talking before you started down this path, and what it was that brought you to this conversation. Sean, why is it that you wanted to talk about PTSD?
Well, I worked as a paramedic in Nova Scotia for 17 years, also had experience as a volunteer firefighter, and in March of 2014, I had to end my career, and soon after was diagnosed with PTSD. So I found myself with no career, no income, no benefits, and really no identity. So the first thing that happened was I was introduced to the Tema Conter Memorial Trust, who, through their peer support and family assistance program, funded me $1,000 to start my therapy, which was huge at the time. It's still huge. So after going through that, which was highly successful, and once I got my feet under me, I wanted to educate myself about PTSD and mental health issues and how it affects first responders. And I was already a big podcast fan in general, so I just sought out and how to do that myself, and just tried to, if someone else wanted to listen and learn as well, that was great. But really, it was just to educate myself and help myself navigate this mental health journey.
As mentioned, our guest is Sean Conohan. UpTalk, it used to be. Now it's called what? Tema Podcast?
It's called #Tema Talks.
Tema Talks.
TEMATALKS.
You said without Tema, you'd be another statistic.
I would be. In 2017, we lost 56 Canadian first responders by suicide. Those are reported suicides. And in 2018, we already have 2. So I would certainly be one of those statistics. I was at a low point in my life, and they reached down and helped me up. And without that, I don't know where I would be. I don't think I would be here.
This has given you an opportunity, and I know you've been sharing your work for the last 2 years. You mentioned the numbers of guests you've had. Tell us some of those people. Tell me who it was that perhaps touched you the most with their story.
I was blessed to have a wide range of guests, ranging from Michael Landsberg to Clint Malarchuk and Theo Fleury, who came on and tell their story. But probably one of the hardest hitting stories for me was my good friend and peer, Peter Tripp, who's a paramedic formerly from Nova Scotia who now works out west. And just to hear his story of what he went through to become a paramedic and, his PTSD struggles really moved me. And what I've learned is that each guest has something to teach, has something we can learn from. And that's what I've used through my growth, is the tools that I've learned from my guests.
You, as well as anyone would know, Sean, not everyone is affected in the same way by the same situation. And,
you're right.
And where this really is important, I think, is to say there's not that sometimes reaching out is the ultimate sign of strength, not weakness. If you know you need help.
It absolutely is.
If you know you need help, finding that help or asking for that help is sometimes the most challenging and difficult thing you could do.
It is. One of my guests on the podcast described it as lifting up the 1,000-pound phone to try to, and that's what it feels like, because it is hard to do. But we have to do it. We have to stop thinking and start talking and start doing the things that we need to get better and to help each other and support each other. And we're getting there. There's lots more work to do, but we are getting there, and we have a huge national support system for this. We just need to know that you need help, and we will come and wrap our arms around you and give you all the resources that you need.
Well, I hope it's a fabulous night of celebration for you this evening, and that you find some fellowship and some opportunities to share tonight, and then perhaps you'll have opportunity to pick up a few new guests for the podcast.
Oh, absolutely. And Sheldon, I want to again thank you and your show. You have always supported this movement really well from when I started, and I just want to thank you for the time.
No need, no reason, but I do appreciate it. Thank you. Have
a good one.
Have fun tonight. Celebrate.
All right,
Celebrate. Cheers.
I'm pretty fast.
Okay.
Pretty dangerously.
Yeah.
So, I really recommend it. And one I'm always happy to find around the city, and it's at Rockhead right now, is the Lunchbox Pale Ale from Meander River.
I've not heard about this one.
Yeah, it's just a classic American Pale Ale. Just nicely hopped, nicely balanced, nicely crafted, and Meander River are just super nice guys. I go up there 2 or 3 times a year. It's a great experience.
Where is it?
They're in Ashdale, which is...
Where's Ashdale?
If you're heading up towards Windsor...
Where's Windsor? No, I'm kidding.
And instead of going sort of left along the 101 to Windsor, you go right as if you were going overland, I guess, towards like Truro. I think it might be the Rawdon Hills turnoff.
Oh, okay.
And just rely on Google Maps.
Yeah, okay. Some places Google Maps won't work in rural Nova Scotia.
Yeah, and it's well worth visiting. They've got a lot of other interesting stuff too. It's a real brewery farm, so you'll find things like mustard, honey. Yeah, very interesting. Lavender.
Everybody's into the lavender.
Yeah.
Okay. And
just the other night, I had an old favorite. It's always around. You can't go wrong with it, and everyone should try it repeatedly. From Quebec, the Dieu de Sel Pêche Mortel. That's
those are usually quite a stronger.
Yeah, it's an American coffee stout style, imperial, probably around 9%. If you don't like dark beers, you're probably not going to like it, but try to be open-minded. It's just a big, tasty beer. On a lot of sites, you'll see it rated as one of the best in Canada, and I would agree with that.
Fabulous. So when will we see the article about cider?
That will be in our spring issue, probably rolling off the press in about 3 weeks.
Okay, and it's about cider, and you are involved with that story?
I am. Kim Hart McNeil and I collaborating on it.
Fabulous. I asked this earlier on Twitter. Do you remember Kugel? The peanut butter spread?
I don't.
Oh. Well, I tweeted out a commercial from the 70s. You're a little bit younger than me, I think.
I'll go YouTube it.
YouTube it. You can do that. All right. Enjoy your weekend and have a fabulous one. And cheers.
Same to you.
Thanks for filling in. Thanks for helping out. Trevor J. Adams is giving us his take with his thoughts on some of the brews he's had lately and some of the ones he's recommending. We're going to take a break, and we're back to talk about Friends. We'll talk Friends with the women from Bridgeway Academy in just a few minutes. We'll be right back after this news update. Back after this news update.